All right, guys, happy Friday. So, of course, I'm not there today, but you guys know the deal. We're going to run through the video, take notes. There's a class activity at the end of it. And again, when you're done, check your answers with my sub. They have the answers. Once everything's perfect, of course, turn it in. And then if there's time left over, work on missing assignments, guys. Please, please, please do not wait to the last minute. So today, we're going to talk about arc measure. Yesterday was a bunch of definitions. Today, we're actually going to start figuring some things out, calculating a few things, specifically arc measure. Now, students get these confused arc measure and arc length, so I want to make sure that you pay attention to the small little details. So let's jump into what arc measure really is. So here's your definition. The measure of the central angle that intercepts the arc. So the central angle. So what does that really mean? So here, this is the way they write. They use a little m, little letter, lowercase m here. That represents the measure of arc AB, and it's the minor because they're only using two letters. So they're talking about from point A to point B, the short distance here from A to B, that's the minor arc, right? Not going the other way around. But it's not talking about the length, right? You're not sitting here measuring this red line, figuring out, hey, what's the distance between A and B? No. The arc measure, it's this angle here that supports it, right? If you take a look at these two rays that hold up that arc, what is that? How many degrees are there? There's 120 degrees holding that up. So that's what we mean by the arc measure, all right? So again, not length, not the distance from A to B, but the angle that's holding that up. All right, now what about the second example here? So the measure, again, that's what the little lowercase m is, of ACB. So now we're going to use the major arc. How do I know it's the major? Well, they use three letters. So again, this is saying I start at A, I go through C, so I go in this direction, I pass it, and then I end up at B. So the major arc is this greater distance. We're talking about this arc side over here. And how the heck did they get 240? Well, don't forget, yesterday we were talking about how many degrees inside a circle. There's 360 degrees. Okay, well, if 120 already taken up by the minor arc, well, what's 120? 360, excuse me, minus 120, that's going to be 240 degrees. So there's 240 degrees holding up that blue arc. And again, it's not the length, guys. Please don't confuse it with that. You're not sitting here and measuring the blue line all the way around. All right, so let's jump into a few examples here to calculate it. What is the arc measure in degrees of AC on the circle P? So again, the circle P, that's your center right there. And they want us to find, okay, they want us to find the arc measure of AC. So the measure of arc AC, that minor arc. So from A to C, and again, it's a short distance. This would be the long way, even though, yeah, I am passing B. This is going to be the much bigger. I'm looking for the shortest distance here, so I'm going to go this way. Okay, so I want to figure out the measure, how many degrees are holding up this red arc right here. All right, in order to figure that out, okay, I'm going to scoot in here. I'm going to scoot in here. Well, it's this angle here and this angle here that are holding it up together. How many degrees are holding it up there? Well, that's 104 and 70. So together, 104 plus the 70, of course, is 174 degrees that are holding it up. So the measure of arc AC, 174 degrees. All right, let's jump into the next part here. Okay, it says, for example, to make sure you guys copy that down, it says in the figure below, AD and CE are diameters. And again, yesterday I was talking about diameters. Remember that if you have a circle, that's a terrible circle. But here we have a diameter that cuts through the center of your circle. Well, remember, how many degrees in a circle? 360, right? Well, if you're going through the diameter, you're cutting it in half, 180 degrees, 180 degrees. All right, well, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind here. How can I use it? There's no one right way to solve these problems. It's kind of like a puzzle. Think back to when you guys were doing supplementary, complementary angles. It's kind of that same idea here, okay? So let's see. AD, from A to D, that cuts your circle in half. So if I kind of drew this again, that line that goes like this, there's 180 degrees on that side, 180 degrees on this side. All right, similarly, if I go the other way from C to E, there's also cutting it the other way, right? 180 degrees on that side, 180 degrees on that side. Well, it's terrible. All right, So let's actually jump back to the question though. What is it asking? It says the measure, arc measure of AB. So the measure of AB, and again, it's the minor arc. They're only using 2 letters. Let me erase a few things here. All right. So it's going to be kind of like a puzzle here. See what I can figure out from A to B. So from A, not going the long way around, going the shortest way, it's the minor arc. From A to B, I'm looking for what's the angle here that holds up that arc. All right, well, let's start figuring a few things out here. There's, again, like I said, there's no one right way. It's going to be like a puzzle. Let's see what things I can start figuring out. Well, let's go back to why would they give me that AD is a diameter? Well, if it's a diameter, what I'm thinking in my head is saying, hey, this just cut the circle in half. I know that on this side of the circle, there's how many degrees on this side of the circle? 180. Well, if there's 180 degrees on that side of the circle and 93 are already taken up right here, well, how many are left for this guy here? Well, what's 180? I'm gonna be lazy here. 180 minus 90. Whoa, 100. Why can't I even do this? 180 minus 93. That's gonna equal 87 degrees. So there's 87 degrees. Oh my God, what is going on? Why isn't this? All right, my apologies, guys. 87 degrees are right there. Okay, cool. Now, here's the deal, right? Did I figure out the measure of AB? No, not yet. I actually figured out AE. Okay, cool. How can that help me? Well, let's keep trying to figure out other pieces to it. Um, they also said that CE, so from C to E is also another diameter. So it's cutting your circle in the other direction, right? So from C, if I go this way, there's also 180 degrees on this side of my circle. Well, it's kind of cut into 3 pieces. You see the 38 here, you see the red one, and then you see the blue one. Well, again, that diameter cut in half, so there's 180 degrees, but 38's already taken up, 87's already taken up. This is what I'm trying to find. So I'm thinking, hey, 38 plus the 87 plus the x that I don't know is equal to the 180 degrees that were created. Well, what's 87 plus 38? That gives me 125 plus x is equal 180. If I subtract 125 from both sides, I get x is equal to 55. X right here is equal to 55 degrees. And again, that's how many degrees are holding up that arc AB. So this is going to be 55 degrees. All right, so again, that's our arc measure. All right, let's move on to the next one here. It says in the figure below, AB is a diameter. So same thing, right? AB, just cut my circle in half. So there's 180 up top, 180 degrees down below. Okay, maybe I can use that here in a second. We'll see, figure out how. What is the arc measure of ABC? So measure of arc ABC. What the heck is that going to be? Well, first I have to identify it. And this is going to be the major arc because they use 3 letters. So I have to go the long way. I start at A. I run through B. So running towards B. I pass B. And I end up at C. So again, they're asking for that this entire angle that's holding up that major arc. Well, there's 69 degrees right here, right? Okay, well that's already taken up right there, 69 degrees. Well, how many degrees are just in this section? Remember, they told you that AB was your diameter. So how much is taken up on this side of here? There's 180 degrees. Well, then 180 degrees and the 69 degrees, if I add those together, 9 degrees. Let's add them to 0. That's 9. 8 plus 6 is 14. That's going to give me 249 degrees. Okay, there's 249 degrees holding that arc up. Okay, so that's my arc measure. Okay, fourth one here. Okay, so it says, what is the arc measure of BC? So from BC, again, it's the minor arc, so I want the shortest distance. Okay, BC, so here's B, here's C. All right, the long way would be going this way, right? Even though it's just a smidge, again, this is going to be your minor arc, so we're actually going to go in this direction. Yeah, even though, yeah, I do cross A, right? This is the shorter way. So it is our minor arc. Okay. Well, before I can figure out what that is, right, you got to figure out what y is, what y is. How can I figure that out? Remember, how many degrees inside of us does a circle have? 360 degrees. Well, this circle is broken up into just three pieces, right? It's broken up kind of something like this. Well, piece number 1 plus piece number 2 plus piece number 3 all together would add up to give you 360. It's kind of like when we were doing those supplementary, complementary, right? Supplementary, they'd all add up to give you 180, all those pieces. Complementary, all those pieces would add up to give you 90. Okay, well, you're going to take all these three pieces in here of your circle, you're going to add them together. You're going to take 4y plus 6 plus 7y minus 7 plus the 20y minus 11 is equal to 360 degrees. Okay, well, let's go ahead, and this is just an algebra problem now. Got 4y, combined like terms 7y, 20y, that's 20, that's 27, that's 31y. Okay, what's 6 minus 7? That's negative 1. Negative 1 and negative 11 is negative 12 is equal to 360. Okay, let's go ahead and solve that. What's 360 plus the 12 that I should be adding over? That's going to give me 31y is equal to 372 because I added plus 12, right? Well, if I divide both sides by 31, divide by 31, I get y is equal to, divide by 31, y is equal to 12. Now again, does that mean that the measure of BC is 12? No, we just found y. We found what the letter is. Okay, well, let's plug it in. If I plug 12 in here, what is 4 times 12? That's going to give me 48. And then if I add the extra 6, it would give me 54. So there's 54 degrees in here. Okay. Well, if I plug in 12 one more time here, what's 7 times 12? That gives me 84 minus the 7. That is 77 degrees in this one. So again, there's 77 degrees here. Okay. Now again, if I really wanted to, I could plug it in over here, but I'm not really too worried about that because the question was just asking from B to C. And again, I already found these two little segments here. Okay, well, why not just add 54 plus the 77? Well, what does that give us? 54 plus 77, that gives us 131 degrees. So this arc from B to C, the minor arc here, the measure is 131 degrees. And again, you're not measuring the distance, guys. All right, it's not like you take a ruler from B all the way to C. It's the degrees that are holding up that arc up there. All right, guys, here is your class activity. You guys got 3 problems. So number 1, it says, what is the arc measure of AC? It's the minor arc. So the shortest distance from A to C is going to be here. Okay, and again, this is going to be important. AB is your diameter. So remember, think of that. That's splitting your circle in half, 180 degrees and 180 degrees. Okay, what is the arc measure for the second one? ADC. So ADC, that's the long way. So I start at A, I go to D, and I end up at C. So how many degrees are in this direction? Okay, cool. Remember, for this one, you're going to probably want to think, hey, how many degrees inside of how many degrees does a circle have? 360. How much is taken up? How much do I have left? Kind of idea. All right, the last one. XZ is the diameter. So from X to Z, that's cutting it right in half. All right, so you might have to use that. But what are they asking for? YZ. So they want just this arc right here at the very end of it. All right, first you're going to have to find W. Once you figure that out, plug it in. It's going to give you from Y to Z. You're looking for these degrees here. All right. So I'll end the video here, guys. Have a great weekend. I will see you guys on Monday.